Welcome to lesson 75, part 1. You will need a straight edge of some sort. It could be the side of your folder, ruler, something that has a nice solid straight edge. Okay, lesson 75, identifying composite angles, pages 25 and 26. Our content objective for 4th grade MD measurement data C7. I can decompose overlapping angles. Language objective. I can use vocabulary related to geometry to describe composite angles. Social objective. I can work with others to use models to help identify composite angles. So compose. To compose something, make composite shapes by combining or putting together smaller shapes. So you can compose something by putting shapes together or numbers. Decompose, D means apart in this case. We're going to break apart into units or groups. So we have a shape that has different shapes put together. To decompose them is to take those apart. So we will be taking apart composed shapes. A composite shape is a shape or figure that can be divided into two or more of its base shapes. So we're going to take a composite shape or angle and decompose it into its parts. We're going to look and see the parts. So here we're going to look at this first one. We have different angles here. And we're going to look at the different parts that make this angle. So first we're going to look at the largest one. Okay, so that would be this one here. This is our largest angle. It's an obtuse angle. So with your straight edge and your pencil, we have a point Y on it, and the vertex is X. Now this may not be exact, but we're going to try to be as close as we possibly can. It's okay if you have a little problem there. That's why we use pencil. Okay, and then this is W. So I'm just looking at the part that looks like this. So this is part of our composite angles. We have W, X, Y. Okay, now I'm going to look at the next largest angle. That would be this one right here. Because this larger one is composed of these two smaller ones put together. So I get down my first piece there. So here's our array X, Y. And then for this one that has Z on it, it looks closer to a right angle. So inside this angle you have this one added to, and so the other angle that we need to look at is this acute angle right here. W, X, Z. So we're taking apart the three different angles we see here. Sometimes there may be more than three, but we're going to just look at three right now. Okay, so this one mainly goes up. So this ray is X, Z. And then we need this part that goes off at an angle to make that acute angle. Doesn't have to be the exact measure. And then the letter on there is a letter W. Okay, so we've taken this composite angles, because there's 1, 2, and added together makes this third angle, and we're looking at the parts. So together they make this large angle, and then the two parts. So there's 3 different angles we're looking at. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with this angle. We'll go ahead and start with our largest angle, the one that's been composed by the 2 smaller ones. Start with our bottom ray, which is HG. Remember, with rays we always start with the end point. So we have H, G, and then we need to add on this ray H, I. Okay, now inside we have these 2 angles, so I'm going to start with the next largest one. That's the GHJ. GHJ is our next largest angle. So we start with that bottom ray of HG. Oops, let me do it a little higher, sorry. So here's H and G. And then we need to make the ray HJ. And it goes in a little bit more than HI. So now we've identified this larger angle, this next one. Now we need to identify this one right here, this acute angle. So IHJ. So first I'm going to make HI. And then I'm going to make HJ. So that's that smaller angle here. So these 2 smaller angles, when they're put together, when they're composed, make this larger angle. So we're just identifying the different parts that are in there. Okay, next we'll start with this larger one, LMN. That's our composed larger angle. So first I have ray ML, and off of that I have ray MN. Next I'll look at angle OMN. I'm going to look at this angle, or NMO. I'll start. I'm going to start with my ray M. N. And then I'm going to put ray MO. Okay, so now we have one of our two smaller angles. Now we need to get angle LMO. We have to show that one. We have M, L, and O. So these two smaller angles, when they're put together, will compose this larger angle. So those are the three that are together. Okay, last one. So we're going to get our largest angle down first, ABC. First, ray B, A, and then ray B, C. So that's the largest angle, that's the composed angle. Now we're going to look at the parts. We're going to decompose that larger angle. Start with the next largest one, which is ABD. So we have ray B, A again. And then BD, it looks almost like it's a right angle. Straight down. So that's one of our two smaller angles that compose this larger angle. The other one is CBD. You have to get drawn, CBD. So I'm going to start with ray BD. And then get ray BC. So this angle and this angle put together, when they're composed, make this larger angle. Okay, so we're just looking to identify the parts that we have these two smaller angles that are composed to make the larger one. And then we could take it apart into what those angles are. So we decompose that larger angle into the two smaller ones. That's all that we're identifying right now. Okay, let's go on to our 3-column notes.